Hello, it has been a bit. My voice is a little raspy today. I'm not sure why, but I thought I'd go ahead and do a little garden tour. I've been behind on posting videos because, I've been so busy. I get out in the morning, I water the garden, I sit out here for a few minutes, and then I'm rushing about and doing all kinds of other things. So I haven't had time to just sit and do a video. Even today, there's stuff on the schedule, but I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. So last time you saw the garden, things were pretty low to the ground. It was pretty low key at that point. Hopefully you can see it. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's my screen is super dim, but it might be a little dark. But there's a lot of green going on. Hummingbird, hello little bird. And it's trying to decide whether it's going to land and get some syrup or it's going to keep on moving. The figs are doing well. I actually harvested one little fig. There's not a whole lot of figs. I really got to put this in the ground this fall. All three of them need to go somewhere permanent, and I think that has a lot to do with it. So that is the plan. I do have some little figs here and there. Hopefully they will ripen, but these need to go in the ground. Their pot has lost their usefulness as far as nutrients and everything goes, and you can tell. I mean, and I'm hearing this a lot of different areas. The leaves are starting to premature yellow, like early fall coming in, but I'm not too sure what's happening there. We have the calendula, which is doing really well. I've been plucking blossoms. I have some already in the house, but I just keep coming out and plucking it. I'm probably plucking it wrong. I don't think I'm supposed to leave these stems up top, but so long as it keeps blooming, we're good. Okay. The cucumbers. Eggplant, still really small. I did plant these from seed. They're okay for the most part, but a lot has been pecking at them, and still they're like making their way through, so we'll see what happens there. The cucumbers, you can hear the chickens in the background, are getting a little funky. These are pickling cucumbers, Boston pickling, so they're not supposed to be crazy big. This one's yellowing. I'm not sure if it got properly pollinated. It took off like it did, but the heat has been really beating down on these plants. This one gets a lot of sun just above coming in, so I think maybe the heat has something to do with that on that scale. The green beans, I didn't get as many as I wanted, but they are thriving and they're coming up the pole here, if you can see that. Okay, so calendula, green beans, the strawberries are doing all right. I did lose a couple. Eggplant, cucumbers, moving along. I don't know if I'm going to get gourds. I mean, it's more of a fall thing, but more so I can't remember. It's been a while since I planted them. Another little hummingbird in my face, if they start producing now and then, but this should be taking off, and I feel like I was late to planting. Let me tell you, these hummingbirds, they can get a little aggressive when you're in their space and they want their syrup, and this one's been having little conversations. I need to actually refill their bottles with some fresh syrup, and they like to land on these strings up here. One is a mister, the other one's this little cord that we have the shade cloth for, and the birds are coming in. There's bird seed. You can see I don't bother them that much being out here. As I get closer I will, but they're like, yeah, she's far away, we're gonna snack for a little bit. The bees balm has not produced flowers yet. We'll see what happens. I can harvest some of those when it does. So there is that going on. I'm still pulling berries off the goji berry, but it's kind of buried behind the Swiss chard there. I've been neglecting my cauliflower. I need to just come harvest this and make some kind of like cauliflower salad, something, use that up. The lettuces are pretty much gone, but the Swiss chard needs some pruning. The kale needs some pruning, and I need to make like a healthy little salad out of that. See, again, more yellowing leaves. I just need to get these in the ground. The lemon is doing really well, producing a lot more foliage. It flowers kind of weird, like all of a sudden it'll start flowering again in the fall. These marigolds have been amazing. Big, huge blossoms. So okra, yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of missed the window on my okra. It's kind of like that touch-y-go window. And actually, I really didn't. They didn't sprout. And I think the reason they didn't sprout was because of the soil that I had added in this bed and that bed. So we had some problems with the soil. I ended up doing a whole bunch of worm castings and some like potash, magnesium, potassium, calcium amendments in these beds, trying to repair what damage the soil did. The marigolds didn't seem to mind so much, but the peppers and things like that, I lost a couple of pepper plants. But this okra just, the okra that's sprouting, I actually had like in a little tray here that got filled with water and it pre-sprouted. So I put those in the ground just to have some okra maybe hopefully grow. With the rain that we've been having, okra really likes it hot. They really, really like it hot. And so with the rain that we've been having, I think they're just kind of like, this is not our season. So I doubt I'm getting any of those, but I could be wrong. It's July, and it's, nearing the mid of July. I always forget, or I panic maybe, that we still have August, September, October. Okay. So I get a little panicky, and it's almost like my tomatoes too. I get a little panicky when they're small and I plant them and I'm like, they're so small, and it's June and I'm just like dying because I think they're not going to do anything. And then I have to start and think back, have I ever gotten a mid-season harvest off of my tomatoes? No, never. It's always been in the fall. I always get tomatoes in the fall, and the tomatoes are coming in. So there's that. The peppers bounced back some. Some of them are kind of still a little straggly. I got to come back in, get some more nitrogen in here, more acids, coffee grounds, things like that, and more worm castings. This Carolina Reaper I ended up picking up because I tried to plant one last year. Nothing happened. Same thing's going to happen, I'm thinking. It's having to recover, and so it's not really producing flowers, things like that. I did put some bell peppers into the back just to fill this bed in because this is like my disappointing bed. I'm not sure, I just... So much with that soil. I've been trying to really focus on composting this year because next year I'm going to need my compost. I'm not going to buy commercial. And even though it said organic, I'm still not going to buy it because it just, no. It really, really put me behind on peppers. This pepper bed starting to flower, and get some peppers, like there are some peppers. I have harvested a couple out of here, these Espanola hots and some yellow hots. See these? I don't know if you, there we go. I did get some yellow hots out of here. See, there's another one. Okay, and I'll probably come pick this. I don't know what's going on. Those Espanola peppers have been browning, and I'm not sure if it's just the heat, but you can tell, look, here's some blossoms that didn't get pollinated. They're all yellow. Okay. And, oh yeah, these yellow hots. See, this one's a tiny one. Hopefully I'll get some more of those because those are really spicy and yummy. I have the regular, like hatch type peppers in the back, the green chilies. We'll see what happens there. They're so far not, there's a couple of little producing things on there, but not too much. So the tomatoes, and honestly, I don't know what's what anymore except for the Amish paste. I definitely know what those are. You can always tell a cherry tomato though. The way they kind of cluster together, you'll get a grouping of tomatoes. This one, I want to say it was like a blue or something. I know I have Chadwick cherries in here. But what ends up happening is, you can see here's some that drop blossoms, but then here's some that are producing. So, and same up here. There's a little nice sprig of producing tomatoes. But with the heat, you're going to get drop flowers. They're not going to produce. A lot of this center plant is cherry type tomatoes. These were the bigger tomatoes on this side. And I think some millionaires are in here. But I know there's like the blue. And then in here, so you do have this tomato coming in. It's so hard to see my screen with the sun, but hopefully you can see this. Now I do have twine. You see this running up. I didn't get to put the braces with wood like I wanted. I just put a really thick heavy duty gauge wire, and I kind of twisted the wire, so hopefully the tomatoes will hold. I had to get them twined up and I ran out of time. Plus I put the shade cloth in and to protect them. So I have something kind of going over it, and I didn't want to take the shade cloth down, then put wood, then like have to redo it. It was a little bit more of a chore than I needed at the time because I have been so busy. But there's lots of blossoms going on. You just need pollination, things like that happening. And I just come in and actually, this is the greatest thing because the way it's braced and everything. I come in and I just shake this, and it vibrates all the plants. So I think that's been helping. Amish paste tomatoes are my favorite, and they're finally coming in. And you can see them down here, and you can tell by the shape of those. Those get to be really, really big. So I'm looking forward to those, and I do have more blossoms on them. I need to come out and harvest. There's a bunch of bees in this section, but I do have like a lot of basil going on over here. The coneflowers are attracting them. The yarrows are attracting them. The rosellas should start blooming soon, I'm thinking. I also have some cayenne peppers down here. Now, I did notice they're starting to shrivel already, and they're not even red. So, I'm not sure what's happening there. And I wanted to pick them as they're red, not green. These are dragon cayenne. I can, but I can't get a hold of this. And there's a bee right there. Like, why are you messing with my pepper? I'll have to come back and pull that one out. But I have been harvesting a lot of echinacea. So purple coneflower, echinacea, vitamin C, loaded, good for you. I've been drying it. I've been putting it in my, like the echinacea tea stash that I have. And it is really good for those fall months when you start feeling a little, like I probably will have a cup today because this weird little rasp I have going on. But the lavender is all but done producing flowers. Now it's just growing. I have harvested most of them. Some of them I did leave to let a little seed fall. Look at this basil. Holy moly basil, right? I'm going to come out. My plan, it's a busy day. I need to come out and harvest some of this basil and actually go make some tea. Everybody's been talking about basil tea. I gotta try some. I mean, I have a tea garden, pulling these flowers. If you keep them from flowering, the basil will stay sweeter. This is like regular, like kitchen basil, cooking basil. And the leaves are really, really tasty. Like, I could pretty much make a salad just out of the leaves because they're that tasty. The other thing going on in here is jalapenos, and that's another reason I need to come harvest some basil because they need some sunlight. You can see the little peppers in here. Maybe leaves are in the way. It's like, look at this green thing. Okay, jalapenos. I have harvested a few of these. Let's see, the leaves just love to get in the way. I'm using my phone. So I do have onions in here. Supposedly that's supposed to help too against certain bugs. I did put serranos in. Look at these pretty little peppers. But look at this basil. Like, this basil is controlling this box. So I need to come in, harvest, make some tea, and let you know on the next video how that turned out. Raspberry, some of the stems are dying back in the back, but the newer stems are looking really, really good. The peach was falling over. I had to come put some supports. It gets weighted. There's a lot of peaches on here. I am not sure if these peaches are going to turn. They're kind of very hard. They're small. They're not growing bigger. So it's a little, I'm wondering what's happening on that. If they're going to produce much of anything. The pomegranate is. Pomegranate's on the other side of the yard. So the cactus. So the cactus put out a bunch of new little pads, just like how it's putting out more new little pads. So that is super cool. I've never had a cactus, and I've never had it. Well, I have had cactus, but it has not thrived. They've been indoor cactus, and they've died. This I put in the pot. I want to keep it small, harvest when I need to. I'm really wanting, next season I want some of the prickly pear. I don't know if it'll put prickly pear out this season. I think it's a little too late. But so long as it keeps growing these little pads, I'm all right. And I do got to try, I think, what are they called? Nopalitos. So, but I'm not sure when to harvest the pad for that. So I got to do some research on that as well. Oh, fennel. So this morning I about had a panic attack because I'm so proud of this fennel. Look how beautiful this is. And there's like multiple stalks down here, so I could actually this season harvest some root if I wanted, but I just let it come back every single year and let it take off. And the reason being is it creates this beautiful foliage, and I am honestly after the seeds. I want the seeds for tea, of course, but they're a natural sweetener. They have a little bit of a licorice type taste to it. These are the little seed pods. I popped one in my mouth this morning, and oh my gosh, this is the first season where I'm actually going to get a really good seed harvest from this. So I'm excited. However, this morning, the panic attack that I'm about to tell you about, I walked out and I was looking at the seeds and I'm all excited, and I'm like, wait, what's this tiny little thing on my seed pod? Is that an aphid? Sure enough. And I, with my blind eyes, took off my glasses so I could see a little better and realized that all the stalks, and you can see they've kind of done some damage, right, were covered in aphids. So ants must have harvested them onto this plant. There's no okra this year. That makes sense. But the whole stem and everything was covered in aphids. And I was like, no, and I was about to eat one of the fennel seeds. So I had to get my hose and I sprayed off all the aphids. They are now in new homes around the garden, I'm sure. So long as most of your plants are healthy, they'll be fine. They'll move on. Other bugs will find them. But this is where the seeds start coming in. Cleanup bugs start moving in to clean up the debris. So it's kind of at that stage where those aphids would come in anyway, but I don't want them destroying my seeds. So I went ahead and sprayed them off into the garden, and where they land, I do not know. But, and then once they were all sprayed off, I came back, checked the seed, and tried it, and it is the best. Absolutely the best. Such rich, beautiful flavor, sweetness. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to make sure I get some really good harvest on that. And right now, like as a seed pod, pop it in your mouth. It's super soft. Fennel does get a little crispier when they dry. But when they're in the tea, they're going to add a lot of flavor. The coneflower back here is producing really well. I have 2 of them. And I come in and pluck those as well. The hibiscus is getting ready to flower. I've been waiting patiently. The fennel stalk is falling over also onto the hibiscus, but that's okay. This is zucchini. I have been harvesting a steady amount of zucchini, and it's a monster. I did find 5 squash bugs like last week, okay? So I was on it. I put diatomaceous earth at the base and along the stems, and I dusted up underneath the leaves. I haven't seen any more. It's looking pretty healthy. I did prune it back a little bit. But one of the things I did last year when I all of a sudden saw a bunch of the squash bugs moving in, is I put them in a jar and I put them at the base of the plant. And I left them in there and put the jar down. I have another container there too. And what seemed to happen was it deterred it for a bit. Like, they didn't bother the plants as much. So I did that same thing this year. I'm just watching to make sure no more come back. I do see roly polies moving in. And I'm just keeping a watchful eye on eggs and things like that. This is a big plant to check all these leaves, I'm not going to lie. So it is a little challenging. But so far so good with just those 5 and me putting diatomaceous earth. So hopefully I caught them early. Hopefully maybe I caught the eggs emerging, killed the little nymphs of them. And here we are. So let me see here. I'm going to turn if I can. I'm barefoot and a bunch of debris. It's been raining off and on. A bunch of debris washed onto my little paver. And I'm trying to not like maim my feet with wood shards that have like crept into the edges. Because my feet, I'm like princess feet. A little pebble, a little anything. And yeah, no. Sunflowers are producing. They look a little bleh, but these happen to be in a bed that requires like a daily watering. It drives me crazy because it's so shallow and it dries out so quick. I do need to come in and harvest some strawberry mint. It's going to start flowering otherwise. And then this way it'll keep spreading. But the little sunflowers coming in. Love it. Okay. We're going to go this way. You can hear, oh my God, the chickens. Temperamental, moody. The cucumbers have been like pecked at from the squirrel non-stop. I'm surprised this one's even this big. Next year, hopefully that'll be a little bit better planting coverage things. I did put like this little this type of eggplant in also, and it looks like maybe one of the eggplant got fertilized there, so looking forward to that. And these have been producing flowers. I always come in and pop up the dead flowers, deadhead the flowers off, so that way it'll keep producing. But that is the garden this season. And it is crazy with growth. Here we go through the wood. Oh, the wood chips again. The grass is filled in nicely also. It's Bermuda. Doesn't require, in fact, I hardly water this at all. But it's nice and thick for my tootsies. And yeah, and there's the Winky dog. She's like, quail eggs, Mom. Quail eggs. I know they're out there. I can smell them. So there we have it. The garden tour that has been delayed because I've been so busy I haven't had time to stop and record a video of my little bench. This bench, I don't know if I ever said. So I was looking for a headboard for the longest time, a bed headboard, okay, because I wanted to make this style of bench for the garden. Finally, one day we were driving home, and down the road, we spied a headboard. So my kiddo, were like, we need to, there's the headboard, there's a headboard. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's all the way over here. We can't pick it up. And they're like, no, just drop us off. We'll carry it home. So they walked from down the road carrying this headboard home. And this is what I turned it into. This beautiful bench. And so, because I just do little things. I love woodworking. There's one of those little iridescent beetles flying around. Oh, and I do want to point out, because I don't think I did a video on this. I didn't talk about this in any of the previous videos. So I did include a chembuster. I made one earlier it's been a few weeks now since I made that. It has resin on the bottom, copper rods going through, it has selenite, it has metal shavings in there, and then the copper tubes, it has quartz crystals. And this has been in the garden, and since it has been in the garden, our skies have been blue. So if you wonder, do they work? We've seen it work. We've seen the planes try to hit our house and mark us with those little chemtrails. And that thing has been beautiful. So, blue skies. Yeah, blue, beautiful skies. And I'm going to head off. I hope everybody has a beautiful, blessed day. And I hope everybody's garden seasoning is going the way that you hoped. And, every year is a learning year. So there's always something new to learn. So even if it's not going as you expected, what did you learn this year? Let me know in the comments. Anything you've planted that was unexpected, anything you've planted that is new to you that you are absolutely enjoying or not thrilled with, just let me know down below. Hit like and subscribe, and we shall see you next time. Much love. Happy gardening.